All right, we got our shipment of bare root trees, and we also have some of the trees that we grafted last year. It's time to put them in the ground and expand this orchard. Anybody that's watched this channel for a period of time, you know that what our idea was, part of our design, our permaculture design for this permaculture orchard, is creating an orchard alongside our driveway, which goes down this way and eventually comes out to the main road or the country road, whatever you want to call it. Now, in the past, we've discussed our design, how a lot of it came from people like Stefan Subkowiak, people like Mark Shepard, people like Jeff Lawton, Elaine Ingham. There's a whole bunch of people that have a hand in the design we currently use. So we cut and paste the things that work best for us. And that's what you see here. It's going to be kind of hard to see right now because we're in the winter. Okay. So a lot of people, if you go to most of the big box stores, you're going to see all of your trees, your fruit trees, and any other kind of trees. You'll see them available in the spring. Well, that's not when we choose to plant them. We plant them in the fall and in the winter. And primarily the reason being is that it can put all of its growth into the roots as it's growing. And then when spring rolls around, bam, it's off to the races. Now, what we have here and what we've had in the past was basically that trio that Subkowiak teaches, where it's a nitrogen fixer, an apple, and a pear. Nitrogen fixer, and then 2 other productive fruit trees or nut trees, whatever it is. Well, we've done that to this point all the way down to the road. And then down at the end where you can probably see Michelle walking right now, it transitions into a food forest in that area that's over there. That's going to be a whole nother video unto itself. It's still a work in progress. But the idea being, this whole design, the idea being is that on each side of the road, we keep our zone 2. Remember, go back to our zones video. We try to keep things in very close proximity as far as the trees. How cool is it to be able to jump out of my truck, pick whatever I need, get back in the truck, and then head on up the driveway or back out, however the case may be. This side is largely done. We have a few other, she's in there replacing some of the ones that died over the year, but in large part, most of them have done very well. Now, we're coming over to this side, and this is the part that we had a little bit of reluctance in growing before, and the reason being is this is where the previous owners had sprayed all the chemicals. That side of the road was good to go. They had fence line going all the way up on this side of the driveway and kept all the animals on this side. And this is where all the broadleaf killer and everything else has been put down. So everywhere you see a flag behind me, a white flag, is a place where a tree is going to go. It's either going to be a productive fruit tree or it's going to be a productive nitrogen fixer. That's how it's going to go. And the reason we select bare root trees is, number one, well, first of all, they're much, much cheaper than buying a tree in a pot that somebody put a whole lot of effort into and they're going to charge you a fortune for. Bare root trees are always going to be more adapted to the soil that you put them in as opposed to one that's in a pot that you got from someplace. So there's a whole bunch of other reasons. And Stefan Subkowiak, you keep hearing that name a lot lately, but he's the instructor we go to when it comes to this kind of work. Now, we've planted trees in the past and we got videos of that. But today is going to be nothing more than expanding the orchard. So what you're going to see is a nitrogen fixer, apple, pear, nitrogen fixer, so on and so forth, all down this side of the driveway. So it's really all a design thing. We're making the design. We had other plans. We were going to continue up the other side of the driveway. But folks, this is one of those cases where you have to call an audible when you have circumstances that don't quite work out or things you need to make adjustments to. Either you make adjustments or don't do it. That's really the lesson here. We were going to put them on this side of the driveway anyway. Just now we're doing it faster than we thought. So we're going to pick it up here, take it as far as we can, and then we'll see you on the other side. going to show you this little trick we use. Now, the idea today isn't to put a giant mulch ring in. It's just to get these in the ground. We got inclement weather coming, and these things came, and we can't just have them sit. Big things to take away is that this portion right here, your graft union, that really thick part, you do not want that below the surface of that soil, because you're going to wish you didn't. Otherwise, you're going to have your root stock, which is this part, is going to be sprouting all over the place. In fact, we even knew a guy that ended up with a rootstock orchard because he refused to listen about making sure this graft union was above the surface, preferably 4 to 6 inches if you can. Now, these little egg crates we use them. If anybody else uses them this way, I'm not sure I know about it. Anyway, all we do with these, and they're pretty easy to find, just kind of scrunch it up and I just tear a hole in it. And then I'm just going to stick it around the tree. This is like this is like the initial temporary thing. And what we're trying to do here is that when we stick some compost, or it'll initially be compost, when we stick this on top of here, it's funny how these grooves kind of stick into the ground. They kind of stay there. They break down, they decompose very easily. The worms love them apparently, because this thing won't be here long from now. So anyway, this is just our quick little method of getting them in the ground, getting a foothold, and then later on, we'll expand this mulch ring to a point where it makes sense, and of course, add our guild plants and all the other things. But this video isn't about that, but thought you might benefit for those of you planting trees right now. Little trick that helps out immeasurably, keeps everything in place. All right, so that's pretty much a project for the day. Like I said, we had to call it a little bit of an audible. It was going to continue on that side, but hey, this is why you have a plan B, C, D, all the way down. That's what people that are into preparedness do. Anyway, where we are right now is we got all the bare roots in. They've already been pruned. Everything's good to go. And then for now, we're going to leave these little markers in here. Now, you may or may not be able to see behind me, there are other white markers out there. Now, what they represent are the nitrogen fixtures we haven't yet put in. It's not so urgent that we get that done right now. The more important thing is that we got these bare roots in the ground. Everything's good. We're off and running. And now we're ready for the next batch. Plus, it buys us a little bit more time to clear the area where we really, really, really want to put them. But this will work. So, folks, I hope all this good stuff helps. Like I said, we got more comprehensive videos when it comes to planting trees, and always look at those people that are really, really experts at this sort of thing. So until next time, this is Billy the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion, because it is. Here's part of the reasons why. We'll see you next time.